Welcome everyone. Today we're breaking down Ohio's election results from November 5th. I'm Anastasia Kotkovskaya, Manager of Advocacy and Research, and with me today I have Andrew Huffman, Assistant Vice President of Government Affairs here at Ohio REALTORS. Andrew, let's dive right in. What can you tell us about the presidential race and what impact did it have on other down-ticket races in Ohio?
Thanks, Anastasia. As we all know by now, former President Donald Trump was victorious on Tuesday and will be returning to the White House. As expected, Trump performed very well in Ohio, earning over 55% of the vote. This support trickled down to other races in Ohio as well, most notably in the race for U.S. Senate, where Republican challenger Bernie Moreno defeated longtime U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown. We expected this race to be close, but Moreno pulled away and ultimately won by nearly 4% of the vote. Moreno's win was one of several pickups by Senate Republicans across the country, giving the GOP a majority in the U.S. Senate next year.
Sounds like a busy night for Ohio voters. Andrew, all 15 of Ohio's congressional seats were on the ballot. What happened in those races?
Well, Anastasia, you're right. There were 15 congressional seats in Ohio. Republicans controlled 10 of those seats, yet they were hoping to pick up even more seats this election. The most competitive race was in Northwest Ohio, where longtime Democratic Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur looked to defend her seat against current state representative Derek Merrin. As of today, it looks like the Democrats were able to hold off their Republican challengers. However, Congresswoman Kaptur's race is still too close to call, as she only leads by about 0.2% of the vote.
Now, let's turn to the Ohio Supreme Court. How did those races shape up?
Well, Anastasia, 3 Ohio Supreme Court seats were on the ballot, and Republicans swept them all. Megan Shanahan, Dan Hawkins, and Joe Dieters all won, which was a setback for Democrats, who were hoping to flip control of the court. The Republicans will now have a 6-1 advantage.
And what's the story with State Issue 1?
Yeah, State Issue 1 was an attempt at reforming how the state draws its legislative districts, a process that many critics have argued creates gerrymandered districts that favor one party over the other. Opponents of State Issue 1 argued that the ballot proposal would only create more problems, and that the individuals charged with drafting the new legislative districts wouldn't be accountable to Ohio's voters. In the end, Ohioans agreed with opponents as Issue 1 was defeated with nearly 54% of the vote.
And moving on to the Statehouse races, how did Ohio's state legislative races play out?
Yeah, we were really watching these closely as they directly impact our state advocacy efforts entering into 2025. Republicans currently hold large majorities in both the state Senate and House, but Democrats were able to chip away at those majorities as they picked up 2 seats in both chambers. This means that next session, Republicans will have a 65-34 majority in the House and a 24-9 majority in the Senate.
That sounds like it'll be very interesting to follow. Andrew, any final thoughts on what these results mean for Ohio in the coming years?
Absolutely. The statewide election results really reflect Ohio's shift to the right, as Republicans were extremely successful. For the Ohio State House, next session there will be over 20 newly elected legislators, which means we must work to build relationships with them and educate them on our issues. So it's going to be a busy start to 2025 for us.
Well, thanks so much, Andrew, and thank you all for tuning in. Stay with us for more updates on these developments.
Thanks so much.